Hi everybody, welcome to the South Australian Sports Show. Hope you can stay with us for the next hour. My co-host, of course, Barry Curtin, as always, joins me. Baz, how are you?
Fantastic.
Mate, big show coming up. Peter Darley's,
Great
of course, the second segment of his. Caitlin Adams, the distance runner, she's in for a chat and a good story. Sam Tugwell, Dale Fletcher have done a 21 years since the West Adelaide Bearcats won a grand final to their most recent one. So there's a doco coming out on that. We've got the AFL tips. Tommy Butterworth's going to join us, a young fella. We thought we'd bring some youth. He asked me a question before we came on the show. He said, can you pose this one to Barry in the opening? The State Under-18 Championships have just been on, and of course South Australia won.
Yes.
And they sang the Crows song.
Yes, they did.
Is that the new state footy song, is it, mate?
Is it?
Oh, we don't.
Well,
why wouldn't they sing the Power song?
Well, they wouldn't know the words.
Right.
They wouldn't know the words. Well, I found that a bit awkward. I don't know about. I didn't care about it, but I just thought it was awkward. It was. Hang on a minute. You know, that's not our state song.
Yeah.
That's not the state song. What did our state team sing before this?
Good question.
Do you know?
No, I don't. Do you?
Okay. They sang the Power song. No, they didn't.
No.
But what did they sing? It's interesting, isn't it? But they won quite a few games at the State of Origin.
Of course.
Did they sing a song at all?
It's an interesting question. I don't remember seeing them.
Well, it's an interesting point.
I'll do some research on that.
So I don't really care about them singing the Crows
but
song. I think it's a bit off.
Yeah.
But I don't really care about it. I'm not fazed about it.
Hey mate, let's talk about something really positive. Last week, I know we normally like to talk about what's coming up, but I want to talk about this game because the Friday night game, finally an absolute belter on TV. Melbourne and Parramatta had everything at low scoring. Normally a low scoring game, you go turn the TV off, not interested. But it was just a ripping game. It was so enthralling, close through the whole contest. Both teams played some fantastic footy. The pressure was up. Skills were everywhere, tackling. I mean, nearly the best game of footy I reckon I've watched this year.
Certainly the best Friday night game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the showdown was about the best game that I saw for the year. But the intensity of that game Friday night, if you talk to the players, they're the ones that were out there in the middle. I mean, you couldn't take your eye off the game anyway, could you?
No.
It was just one of those games.
Yep.
Wow, who's going to come back now? Who's going to stand up and do this? They were so sore, physically sore after that game, the Port boys.
Yep.
In fact, there's a few of them didn't train this week. So because of that game.
It
and
looked
some
like a physically draining game.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam Pepper has 17 tackles.
Yep.
That's rugby
Unheard
league.
of.
That is just ridiculous, really, in a game of footy. But there are others around him that did the same thing that weren't highlighted. Melbourne players, like Jones, and they are really tough inside.
Who won the ruck tour? I think it was a draw, but I'm interested in
a lot of people said it was a draw.
Yeah.
I thought Gorm was really good. I thought he was a fantastic player.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that separated him was that Gorney kicked one.
Yeah.
He actually kicked the goal. But that was a fantastic game. Don't write Melbourne. Melbourne are a good side.
I agree. You know, sometimes you lose a game and everyone, I think they're going to be around the mark.
I got no doubts they will, providing they don't do a Melbourne. When I say that, they have a history of, playing really well and then getting belted. Not so much this year though, if you look at it. Collingwood belted them on the holiday Monday before they played Port Adelaide. They came back very strongly. I'm not sure who they've got. Who do they play this weekend?
Who?
Yeah, who's Melbourne got this weekend?
I can tell you that, mate.
You can tell me that because you're a
give
wizard.
me my notes here, mate. Let me tell you here, mate. They play St Kilda.
Well, they'll box St Kilda.
Yeah.
But you would not like Melbourne to get beaten by St Kilda.
No, I can't see that happening either.
Then the doubts creep in.
Hey, quickly, mate. I know you've got to take off your fruit tingle sunglasses and you struggle to do that. Again, mate, what did you make of the press conference at 3 o'clock on a Sunday with the coach and Brett? Necessary or not
ridiculous? Say nothing. Ridiculous. Really, this should have been put to bed round one.
Yep.
When it all came out. Put it to bed then. Calling a press conference in the middle of a football afternoon.
Yep, on a bye.
Was no. And it didn't go well. I didn't think it went well. I thought Brett Burton was a little bit awkward in his presentation, and I felt like the coach was coming in over the top of him trying to explain. Yet they didn't really explain. No. There's a lot of things happen on that camp.
Well,
why don't you just come out?
Well, let's think back for a minute. At the start of the year, Melbourne was supposed to go on a camp, and the players said they didn't want to go, and that kind of. I don't think that any of the clubs have to justify what they're doing.
Well,
with
Melbourne
their
copped a lot of
pre-season.
flack over that, Phil.
They did. But do the clubs have to justify what they do?
No, but I remember Melbourne copping a lot of flack.
Yeah, they did.
Because the people were saying, well, who runs this football club?
Yes.
Do the players run it or do the
Coaches run.
Exactly. So Melbourne said, the players as a collective said no. Now, I believe that was a collective minds camp.
Yep.
And they said, no, we're not going on that because a few players had already gone through that and thought it wasn't necessary. Now, okay, I understand clubs looking for an edge. Why don't you give them a football, Phil? Take them away on a camp and give them a football instead of putting a bag over their head.
I don't mind giving them an edge.
I don't
Take
think
a
that
footy.
works.
Okay, could put a footy over their head. Anyway, we need to get to Ash for the latest sporting news. Ash, what have you got for us?
Thanks, boys. Hello, everyone. Australian-bred horse Merchant Navy has claimed the Diamond Jubilee at Royal Ascot over the weekend. Merchant Navy won by the narrowest of margins, greatly resembling Black Caviar's victory 6 years ago. The thrilling victory acts as the third time an Aussie horse has won the prestige race. The Wallabies have failed to clinch the third Test series decider after falling to Ireland. The Aussies couldn't combat a gutsy performance from the Irish in front of the record crowd in Sydney. The 20-16 win serves as Ireland's first series win on Aussie soil in almost 40 years. Port Adelaide and Ollie Wines got the job done against the D's on the weekend. The boys came from behind with a powerful finish to win by 10 points. The side will take on Carlton at the MCG tomorrow. Crows forward Tom Lynch has turned down massive offers by 4 Victorian clubs and has re-signed with Adelaide. Lynch has agreed to a 3-year contract extension and has joined Rory Laird and Richard Douglas in committing to the club. He's hoping they can secure gun midfielder Rory Sloane before the season's end. The boys come off their much-needed bye this week to face West Coast tomorrow afternoon. Adelaide Adrenaline's playoff chances are slipping away after a loss to the Sydney Bears over the weekend. Adrenaline redeemed themselves by winning the second game of the series, but it wasn't enough to get them off the bottom of the ladder. Adelaide will be hoping for the upset win this weekend against league leaders Canberra Brave. South Australia has defeated Vic Country in round 2 of the National Under-18 Championships. Despite drizzly conditions at the Adelaide Oval, SA pulled through after trailing for most of the first half. South Australia will take on Vic Metro at Etihad Stadium next Wednesday. The Adelaide Thunderbirds have been downed once again by West Coast fever in Western Australia over the weekend. The home side dominated all 4 quarters to reinforce Adelaide's position at the bottom of the ladder. The T-Birds will once again play away this weekend, facing Giants netball in Sydney on Sunday. South Australian tennis superstar Nick Kyrgios has been kicked out of the Queen's Club Championships. Croatian Marin Cilic claimed the semi-final victory to send the Aussie home. Kyrgios will begin preparations for his Wimbledon campaign, which commences early next month. And that's it for news this week. Have a good weekend.
Yes, thanks for the news, Ash. Time to get to the Southern Footy League, Baz. As always, the Prez Craig Warman in to join us. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Very well. Interesting round, mate. There were some surprises in round 10, weren't there?
Just keeps happening, doesn't it?
Mate,
week after week.
Normally we want to start with the first game. I don't want to get to this one because it had some significance. The Happy Valley game up against my team, Ranella, and I know we shouldn't have lost, but we didn't. 6 goals to none in the last quarter. But there was a significant part of the day where the medical room was named after one of the greats from Happy Valley.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that had something to do with the game?
Well, certainly when you, and we're talking about Hank Middleton, the trainer at the Happy Valley Footy Club for the last 26 years. Unfortunately, he's been diagnosed with cancer and is not all that well at the moment. But they actually had a big past players, sponsors day at the footy club. So, along with the naming of the medical rooms after Hank. So the Southern Footy League, as part of that process, Hank was also now eligible this year to be inducted into our Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So what we did, because of the situation, was we thought it would be appropriate to give it to him while he's still here, so to speak. So we tagged into their day, and I've got to tell you, huge crowd of people there. A lot of people that hadn't been back to the club for probably 10, 12 years made an effort and got out there. Hank had all his family from interstate and whatever. So yeah, it was really well done by the Happy Valley Footy Club. And of course, I reckon that might have spurred the boys on a little bit. And yeah, as I say, 6 goals to nothing.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing what something like that can do, though.
Yes.
You know, I've seen it before. I've seen it in the amateurs before, where I saw a bottom side beat a top side because they had a past players day and a special day for this and a special day for that, and bang! All of a sudden,
you get that impetus, don't
you
you?
get that. You get that. I don't know. Maybe you should do it every week.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen, but
I
it
know,
does
I
happen
know,
a lot,
but it
though.
does happen,
And
yeah,
they're
it does
motivated.
happen, yeah.
Christie's Beach at home, mate. Too good for Cove?
Yeah, they're going on nicely, Christie's. You would have thought Cove would have done a little bit better in this one, but they still won't write Cove off. They've got a good stretch of winnable games coming up. And again, when you look at Ranella have just gone through that process, as well as a couple of other sides just above them, they now start to pick up on the top of the table clashes. So Cove are still there or thereabouts, but Christie's at the moment going along nicely.
The Curtin-Anderson curse just hasn't helped them at all, has it? Really? Let's be honest. We tried to get the coach in last week and clean it up a little bit, but seriously, you two blokes have really put the mockers on.
Well, and of course, Friday night, they've got the big reunion, so they'll be looking for a win this week.
Is that this Friday?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, they got Morpeth Vale. We'll come to them in a minute, mate. Flagstaff Hill, top. They're really starting to flex their muscles. Too good for Morpeth Vale.
Oh yeah, and as we know, Morpeth Vale in that rebuild process. But Flaggies, after the shock loss the week before to Christie's, again starting to get a couple of players back from injury, and I still reckon they're the side to beat.
Norlunga, Port Norlunga.
Ooh.
They're on their way. Norlunga.
We all carried on about Norlunga in the first three games of the year, not winning a game.
Yeah.
The third game was against Porties at Porties, and of course Porties always hard to beat there. Same thing at when you go to Norlunga. Really nice place to play footy, but geez, it's hard to win there. And of course the rivalry between these two clubs, living right next door to each other, is almost like Morpeth Vale Ranella. And look, Porties, they're up and about. Again, don't write too much into a loss at Norlunga, or to Norlunga at Norlunga. Both sides travelling pretty good.
Okay, round 11, mate. Aldinga sitting in 8th spot. Christie's Beach in 2nd. It's at Aldinga. Does that give Aldinga a good shot at?
They'll be competitive probably for the first half, but Christie's, with their experience, will probably run away with that one in the end.
When they say they're going to be competitive,
They're going to get whacked.
they're going to get whacked.
They're whacked.
Right, they're going to get whacked. Cove and Morpeth Vale. Here's a chance for the Cobras at home.
Yeah, playing for the Merv Mills Cup.
Merv Mills.
Yeah.
I thought that was named after me, that cup. No. Oh, Merv got it. That's right. I'm
How
happy.
many other things you want to be named after, Gary?
I was only kidding, mate. I was only
Mate,
kidding.
whatever you got.
But there's a chance, though, isn't it?
It is.
Pie there that you could name after him. The Barry Curtin pie.
Mate, there's a lot of other things I can name. Don't worry about that. But Cove at home should start a winning sequence for them. They've got Morpeth Vale this week, and then, as I said, a couple of other games that are really winnable for them. So I'd back Cove at home.
Okay.
Happy Valley are in some pretty good form, but they come up against Flagstaff at home. Flagstaff?
Yeah, Flagstaff will probably win it, but this will be a lot closer than people think. The Battle of the Hills Valley.
Yeah.
Both neighbours.
Yeah.
Players drift from one club to the other. So, yeah, this will be a good tussle. But when you look at Flagstaff Hill, they're playing at home. They don't lose too many at home. They lost one a couple of weeks ago. They won't lose two.
3 versus 5. 3 versus... This is probably your match of the round.
It will be. This is the tribe match.
Ranella and Norlunga.
Yeah, tribe match of the day. Yeah, we get to see Ranella two weeks in a row. And again, Ranella at home, always hard to beat. Although this will be a toss of a coin. This could go either way. Norlunga are up and about. They probably won the last 4 or 5 games. Close to a loss? Hard to say, but I think I might stick with the Shoes in what promises to be a really close one.
Mate, we're closing in on the finals. It's getting closer. We've seen them and they're starting to settle a little bit. Flaggies still look to you like the team to beat if you want to win it?
Yeah, I think so. When you look at some of the players, they've still got to come back into that side over the next couple of weeks, and then that gives them a nice 4 or 5 week run into the finals. They'll be there or thereabouts.
I mean, the 9-team rotation with the bye, there was a lot of criticism early in the year by some people when we all disagreed with it. Kind of looks like it's worked out pretty nicely.
It has, and again, when you look at it's come to at a really good time for clubs when they've needed to have a bye. Like Aldinga, last week Aldinga had the bye. This week Port Norlunga had the bye. So they get a time to recuperate after a really tough game against Norlunga. Then they've got a stretch of really hard games coming up. So again, that
Little
break
rest.
every now and again doesn't hurt. And of course, bear in mind, the following week we've got our state country championships up in the Riverland. So the boys are out and about on the track as well as the women for the selection in the Southern Districts team.
As always, something happening in the Southern Footy League. Great round of footy this Saturday. Ranella Noarlunga, probably the match of the round. Get down there and support the Southern Footy League. Craig, as always, mate, thanks for coming in.
Good to
Thanks,
see you,
boys.
mate. Good to
Back
see
in a
you.
moment.